Hi guys, Mark here from Modus. Today we are looking at the low bridge. The low bridge is a great element for people to start introducing some back bending and bridging work because it takes a lot of the load that normally goes into the spine and shifts it into the legs. Not everybody, depending on your past, your injuries, your age, will easily be able to develop a full back bridge with arms straight and shoulders over hands. But everyone can develop some level of a low bridge, and it's worth spending your time with because it's a great element. Start working into floor movements, locomotion, back bending, acrobatics, and it's attainable for everyone. Now, depending on your background, I highly recommend working on some sissy squats, making sure you've done some hip flexor opening up and that you've got some range of motion in your big toe before jumping into these. Some of you will be fine, but all depends on what your background is. We start this by lying on the ground. I pull my heels all the way in towards my hips. I turn my hands out, placing the index finger and the thumb on the ground at the same time. And the first action is simply to push my knees over my toes. And notice as I do this that the heels must come off the ground. So I push myself as far as I can forwards. Shoulders can stay on the ground. You don't need to lift yourself up or put any weight on your head or anything. Then reset the hands. If you need to do an extra push forwards, that's perfectly fine. Reset again by the ears. And now I'm squeezing my glutes and lifting myself off the ground. Notice as I do this, I'm not trying to go as high as possible into the shoulders or anything. I'm focusing on shifting the weight forwards into the legs and keeping my hips up, not sitting down on my heels. If you find this position very challenging, start with a 5-second hold and repeat for 5 times. If it's manageable or you've built up through that, I want you to do 20 to 30-second holds and trying to get comfortable holding it for 30 full seconds. Now, when you're doing your low bridge, I want you to pay attention to where your feet are in relation to your hips. If you go too wide, then you're going to be doing funny things to the knees and creating a lot of rotation through the knees. Healthy knees can handle positions like this. If we practice a ton of reps in this rotated position, you may eventually cause a knee problem. And if you already have some knee issues, then you need to watch out for this. Similarly, even if you get your feet and hips lined up, you may be splaying your knees out wide, and we want to avoid that as well. Pushing my knees forwards, I keep the knees in line with the toes, not pushing them super wide. We often will naturally do this because it takes some of the pressure off of the thigh. But if we're practicing this low bridge to get better at it, make it a bit more difficult. Then when we use it later on, we can relax a little bit and allow the knees to go where is comfortable. So keep everything in alignment in the lower body to reduce wear and tear and because it's making you work on the weak link. Once you've worked up to doing 30-second holds comfortably in the low bridge, I want you to aim to start lifting your hands. This requires shifting more weight into the legs, coming up onto your fingertips, and eventually lifting your hands. This opens up the door to later on doing all sorts of acrobatic elements out of the position. So as you can see, this puts a lot more weight into the legs than it does into the spine and shoulders. For those who haven't necessarily had a very physical life, working on range of motion, working on extension in the spine, opening up the shoulders, and you want to be able to use a bridging pattern, this is the place to go. You can strengthen the legs much more quickly than you can open up the spine. And that's not to say that we don't open up the spine, but this is a very reasonable goal that can be attained in a relatively short amount of time compared to a full bridge. That's all for this one. If you have any questions or need some personalized help, send us a message, comment below with whatever you're looking for, or reach out by email if you have any questions about personalized online support or coaching. Stay on the move.